Hello, everyone,
Hello.
and welcome to webinar on
Hello.
energy optimization and managing energy consumption in the building. Anna, please start.
Hello, we welcome our guest on the webinar. I'm Anna, product manager in ORDIN, and today we will discuss questions which are significant for each company. Let's learn how to make your buildings more energy efficient. We will go from energy tracking to identifying and fixing energy loss points. We will see real cases and show you on the first step how to make your buildings more energy efficient using Hyper IT solutions, and on the second step, solve the issue instantly using facility management system ORDIN. And the agenda is, at first step, Arseniy Tarasov, the CEO of Hyper company, the BPS group company, will present their solutions and real cases. And then Denis Ivanov, the CEO of ORDIN, will join us to show in real time how to work with the issues in ORDIN. You will see how Hyper and ORDIN together take the energy efficiency to a new level. And as the third step, we will proceed with the questions and answer section. Please feel free to send your questions online to the chat. Let me show you how to make it. Please see on the page of broadcast, you can see the icon for your messages. Please leave your questions here. Or in case you watch the translation on YouTube, please leave your questions in the comments on the right side of the page. So you may send your questions during all the webinar. We will see all the messages, and at the end of the webinar, we will discuss them. Okay. So please, Arseniy, you're welcome.
Arseniy, sound, please.
Please make
Yes.
it sound. Okay.
Can you hear me okay? Great.
Yeah.
Very good afternoon to everybody. Anna, thanks very much for introduction. Denis, great to see you online. So yes, today we will discuss a very hot topic for absolutely right for any company. And really would like to focus on some of the interesting case studies and use cases where we could achieve from 12 to 90% savings in energy consumption. I think these are pretty cool results. And this is what probably every company is now looking for. So just a quick overview of what I will cover today during the presentation. So a quick introduction to the company. Then I'll speak about challenges and trends that we see in the energy efficiency, and speak about our offering, which we call energy efficiency as a service, or hyperpower, and then actually go through the case studies showing different areas of energy efficiencies and results of the implementations. So let's get right into it. And first, I'd like to say a few words about our group, BPS International. We're an international company with headquarters in Munich. And really, our experience comes from IT and real estate, starting from 1992. So a lot of experience in different areas. But really, as a group, we focus on sustainability and digitalization of real estate, the complete life cycle, from design, construction, and obviously operations. So we have 3 companies in the group. And our mission is really to make sure that the real estate is a sustainable and efficient industry. So we can both design, build, and operate buildings in a very sustainable and energy efficient manner. So regardless of what you want to design a new building, help the most efficient digital tools to construct it or operate, the group can help with that. So I'm the CEO of Hyper. We're part of the BPS group, as I said, and we really focus on the operations, on efficient operations and energy efficiency in the operations. So this is our focus. Now, if we talk about energy efficiency in real estate, there are really 3 main questions, right? And everybody is looking at that, like, first of all, how energy is wasted, right? And is it inefficient operational equipment? Is it a human error? Is it not following processes and procedures? maybe it's malfunctioning of equipment. I mean, all sorts of different questions and different reasons for that. And sometimes it's very hard to understand what's really going on, right? So second one is to understand where the issue is in the building so it can be serviced and maintained. And then probably the most important question is how this can be fixed, right? So three very important questions, but when it comes to solutions, there are certain limitations that we see on the market, and that's why we came up with our solution. So first of all, a lot of companies say, okay, we will give you an energy management system, and what they give you is really just one parameter, which is how many kilowatt hours you consume per day, right? I mean, it's important to understand, but it's not really the way how you can analyze and make some qualified decisions how to optimize energy efficiency. It's really about, you know, understanding what is your average, let's say, fuel consumption in a car, right? It doesn't really give you any detailed information or any information for detailed decision making and actions. But what you really need is to, in addition to that, obviously, you know, full understanding of the processes that are happening in real time, energy distribution among different systems, so that based on this information, you can make some decisions and make some actions. So this is first thing. Second thing is we see a lot of companies offering HVAC automation solution, right? But in reality, you need much more than that, because you really need overall energy processes management solution. And if we again talk about the car industry, it's like offering just a cheap tuning service compared to the overall fleet management and fleet optimization and route optimization and the processes. I mean, it's a complete solution, right? It's not just one process that needs to be taken care of. It's really, you need to look at the big picture to make sure that everything is in tune and everything is optimal. So this is very important. Next topic I wanted also to cover is most of the solutions that are available right now, they require an existing BMS system and sensors implemented. But I would say for majority of built environment, there aren't any, you know, complicated and expensive BMS installed. However, these buildings also need energy efficiency actions and initiatives, right? So this is really a big issue that we see in the industry. And another reality that we currently see in the market is that you know, energy efficiency solutions are only for new buildings, where you have all the fantastic systems installed and all the required equipment, but basically any building requires energy efficiency initiatives, and this is what's lacking in the market right now. So that's why we really focused on these important demands from the market and what's really missing, right? And that's why we came up with a solution that I will talk about right now. So if you look at you know, current challenges, in addition to what we've just discussed, it's really lack of transparency, right? So when you see that the building consumes too much energy, the question is, like, why is that? What is the cause of that, right? What's really happening inside the building, not just one number per month, but what's really going on. And normally with existing systems, it's very hard to understand it again. So second issue is that there isn't really a lot of professionals who can who can analyze in the current situation and make some decisions and make some corrective actions to improve the situation, because this was never a big issue, right? So therefore, there are very few professionals who can do it. Another important issue that we see and challenge is lack of very simple and affordable solutions that can solve the energy efficiency problems, and that can help decision makers to implement cost optimization initiatives, right? So there are super expensive systems, super expensive equipment and services that you can buy from the market, but this is not what most of the companies, especially smaller ones, need to run their energy efficiency initiatives. And in the end of the day, energy efficiency is not also about the amount of energy you spend, but it's also about what kind of energy you consume in the buildings. And this is another issue, as in Europe, we had a lot of concerns about transition from gas to electricity and other sources of energy. This is also kind of a big issue for the market. So we see those key concerns in addition to what I've just discussed. So therefore, we have developed our own solution and our own platform, that really focuses on these key ideas. So first is really create a cost-effective and non-intrusive big data collection, because as we say, you cannot measure, you cannot manage or optimize anything unless you measure it, right? So the collection of big data in any building is the main topic. The second approach is obviously the real-time analytics and optimization based on the big data, right? And big data is really the foundation for future analysis and recommendations. And we add on top of that our experience both in real estate design and maintenance, as well as digital industry experience. So if you look at medical care analysis and analogy, it's really like in if you wanted to diagnose and heal someone, you could only have some very limited number of data points and some very limited number of measurements, right? But now with high performance sportsmen and high performance people, you can measure all the necessary healthcare data online using the newest technology, and then you can optimize the operations and you can optimize the behavior, right? So this is super critical. Now moving to the actual solution. So we've developed a platform which is called Hyperware. It's an end-to-end platform, and we developed the hardware for very economic and non-invasive big data collection about energy processes, about operational processes in the building. So you can see it right here on the left side. Then it's basically a cloud, or it's either private cloud or public cloud solution that can be used from public cloud, or it can be installed in your own private cloud. And then it's integrated with other systems through API, and one of the integration is obviously with ORDIN, our partner in the area of facility management. So, and we really focused on what we call not shiny buildings, right? Not those expensive, huge skyscrapers with multi-million euro investments, but really with normal buildings where owners and facility managers are very concerned about costs, and therefore there are very few systems actually implemented to help understand what's going on internally. So really Hyperware is what we call a tool and analytics that gives much more than a naked eye view, right? Normally you may have someone who gets some sort of understanding what's going on internally in terms of operations and in terms of energy consumption, but we give much more than that, right? So if you remember when the microscope was invented, the scientists could only see a very, very small area of what's really going on, and they have very limited understanding of what was going on, for example, in the human cell. But after the microscope was invented, they could see much more, understand much more, and make much better decisions. The same about astronomy, right? When telescope was invented, in addition to the naked eye view, you could actually see what's really going on there and make some important decisions. So our approach is pretty much the same. If you have your own team of analysts and energy managers who need such a tool to understand what's really going on, it's a really great tool to build a live digital twin and digital trail of operations based on real-time big data. In addition of that, the solution is very affordable. It's easy to use and configure, unlike these huge systems that you can buy for hundreds of thousands of euros. It's a really typical kind of software as a service approach, easy to implement, very inexpensive, and can be easily configured and used. Okay. So in terms of our solution portfolio, everything is based on Hyperware as a data collection and analytics and reporting module. But on top of that, we have two types of services. One is a one-time service called Checkup. This is where customers ask us to come to do a one-time checkup, understand, what are the potential issues, what's wrong with running the equipment and the internal processes, and then we come and we basically provide one-time report with findings about what's going on. However, if we talk about energy efficiency, most of the companies are looking for ongoing service, which we call energy efficiency as a service. So this is basically giving you your own energy manager, right, who takes care of all the data collection, analytics, recommendations, notifications. So everything which is required to make sure that you can achieve and sustain high energy, high performance of your energy efficiency. So that's really the idea. And through integration with ORDIN, you have a very strong tool to make sure that everything which is recommended, all the notifications are properly managed and then controlled. So just to summarize the few words about the tool. Hyperware is the platform that can be used by your own team to do analysis and optimization and reporting, right? So this is the collection of big data, creating a digital trail of operations, and creating the digital twin. So Hyperware can provide you a lot of information in one single platform with a lot of configurable dashboards. It can be energy consumption details, energy consumption peaks. You can build a dashboard that allow you to compare energy consumption in different systems, compare different processes, and really based on that, make some important decisions. But also it has a notification engine that is run using the rules that you set up for yourself in the platform. Based on the big data that we collect and either beam model or 360 degrees photograph or 2D diagrams or single line diagrams, we create a live digital twin. So it's easier for the maintenance teams to actually analyze and make corrective actions in the building. It's very affordable price, as you can see on the screen. As with any SaaS solution, you can start implementation very quickly. It takes a few days to install, and then you can start using it. So here is an example of a dashboard, really giving you a lot of information, how energy is consumed, what kind of processes you have in real time. I mean, there are all sorts of data that would be super useful for your energy analytics team. Another important aspect that I wanted to mention is the notification and anomaly detection module, right? And it creates a special link to a dynamic dashboard that is then passed to ORDIN. And basically this dynamic dashboard answers three main questions. What happened, or what needs to be taken care of, when, you can see it here on the dashboard, and where, right, with a specific point on the digital twin. So this allows the maintenance team to react to such notifications and recommendations quickly and not waste time on understanding what's going on, where it is, and then it's much easier to find this particular object in the building, right, using a digital twin. So let me give you an example how it looks in ORDIN. So we pass a URL to ORDIN, and then automatically a work order is created, and Dennis will speak about this in more detail with the demonstration. So it works both on a desktop and mobile version of the system. Okay, and then just a few words about few details about our Hyperpower service, which, as I said, is your kind of your own energy manager if you don't have one. So basically, it's an efficient energy as a service offering, where we achieve up to 20% reduction of costs. In some cases, we manage to achieve 90% reduction of, for example, gas consumption by switching to a green energy. And this is really a very useful tool for you as a decision maker, because you get reports on a regular basis and you get ad hoc notifications when it's needed, when there is a certain action item that needs to be taken care of kind of immediately. So it's regular reports, it's notifications and recommendations. It's a continuous analysis of what's going on. And this is done by our platform and our analytical team that creates those recommendations for you. And through integration with ORDIN, it's really a very trackable and controlled environment where every recommendation, every action item can be taken care of and then automatically dispatched to your team members. Just a quick example of what kind of data you get in a report. So first of all, it's a combination of notifications, reports of different variables and different parameters, but also recommendations on improvements recommendations of what needs to be changed in terms of processes, in terms of the equipment that is operated. So it's all in that report. And also you get basically digital trail of operations to make sure that you have everything under control and everything documented. So there are things like kilowatt hours report and the diagram of energy consumption and some key diagrams for different systems in the building. Okay, so that was a quick overview of the solution, and let me now go through use cases to demonstrate, that energy efficiency is not just about HVAC automation or one number, which is how many kilowatt hours you spend per day. So let's get into right into it. First of all, I wanted to give an example from the US. And there is a very interesting article about this. And they saved, but just installing the sub-metering system, just by making sure that every important data is stored, they achieved 6% decrease of energy consumption, because the discipline in the team grew dramatically as everybody understood that there is a digital trail of all actions and transactions in terms of energy consumption. So just having a system in the building, and there was a hospital in the US, they managed to reduce energy consumption by 6%. So more details you'll see in this case study. Another example I wanted to give you was the project that we realized at one of the chilling warehouses, where the temperature should have been supported at minus 18 degrees. So in terms of the users, everything was okay, except one of the systems, one of the chillers was running out of, had to be repaired much more often than the other two. And it looked like there were too many peaks in energy consumption, and energy consumption of that particular warehouse was higher than those with similar equipment, but in a different building. So they couldn't understand what was going on. And when we analyzed the performance of those three chillers, and these are really big chillers, to achieve minus 18 degrees in this warehouse, in this chilled warehouse, we realized that the first and the second chillers work fine, and you can see there what we call electrocardiogram right here. So they have no problem. But the chiller number 3 demonstrated really unusual and abnormal behavior in the way how it was operating. It's a typical issue, right? They could not understand this issue without this detailed and diagnostic tool. And by fixing this, right, the company managed to reduce energy consumption by 12%. But what's also very important is they avoided very expensive and unplanned repairs of this chiller number 3, which was always the case, and they couldn't understand what was the issue. The issue, as we identified, was the programming of the automation, right? It was programmed incorrectly from the very beginning. So for several years, this was an issue that they couldn't understand the reason for. So this is first example. Another example is not about electricity; it's about gas consumption, and it's in a big holiday chalet. And another interesting thing is that, again, from the tenant's standpoint, everything was fine, right? There was no issue in the actual living parameters. So the temperature was supported at the right level. The temperature of heating water and pool water was good. But at the same time, if you look at the graph that demonstrates the temperature and the consumption of gas of this gas boiler, this is not right, right? And every morning at 7 o'clock in the morning, the system would start giving a notification that something is wrong with the water temperature. It turned out that because of the problem with one of the circulation pumps, the gas boiler worked in incorrect mode, right? And you can see that this is not right. This is not healthy for the gas boiler. So when we looked at that and we realized that the issue, we managed to reprogram this to replace this circulation pump, which led to 13% decrease in gas consumption. And also it's a much healthier and safer operation of the boiler. It means that much lower risk of failures in the future, right? Very interesting example. Another example is also with the holiday chalet, but that was based on a human error, because the management company basically forgot to turn off the roof ice melting system, which was consuming over, as I remember, 9 kilowatts of energy, and they just forgot to turn it off for summer, right? When we showed them the graph of energy consumption, they were shocked, right? Because it's quite an important piece of overall energy balance, and that was not taken care of, right? Just forgot about it. Another example is not also about energy efficiency, but it's also about understanding and having a complete digital trail of operations. And this example comes from Dubai Delphinarium. And for the owners, it's critical that the quality of water in the Delphinarium is sustained at a very high level, right? Because this is critical for the business, it's critical for the animals. And therefore, we implemented a solution to create a digital trail of operations so that there are no kind of unpleasant surprises, right? And everything is running fast. Yes, everything is running fine. And surprisingly, we identified the issue with operation of the water pumps, which was absolutely, surprising for the owners. And when they look at that really triggered certain maintenance procedures and activities to make sure that such things don't happen in the future, right? Again, this is a great tool as a digital trail to understand what's really going on and fix issues before they become critical, right? Another example I wanted to give you is about gas boiler, right? It's a gas boiler in a residential complex, and the idea was that with the new gas boiler, the mode of operation was somehow, after the loss of energy in the building, so the automatics of the gas boiler went crazy, right? And instead of working as it should, you see the pattern of operation changed really dramatically. Again, it shouldn't happen, right? Normally everything should be fine, but somehow, once in a lifetime, after an energy blackout, this happens, right? And we could basically find out about this issue and realize that the gas boiler worked in the wrong mode and managed to switch it back and to reprogram it back to the way how it should be. So that's another example of having a nice diagnostic tool that helps you really understand what's going on and not just hope that everything runs as it should. Another example of the project that we've run with Enerbuild, it's a project of Climate Kick, one of the committees of the European Commission. And the focus was here also to minimize energy consumption. This particular case was in Gran Canaria, and we worked on an energy efficiency of one of the hospitals there. So we analyzed a number of, by the way, together with students from Gran Canaria. It was a great project where we actually joined forces with the local students who helped to analyze different energy consumption trends. So in this particular case, we analyzed the operation of professional dishwasher, and it's not your home dishwasher, it's a really big dishwashing machine. So, and you can see there are some anomalies in the way how this dishwasher was running, right? So this is a normal operation, and these are anomalies. And that means that there was a certain issue in the way how this dishwasher works. So it's not only about energy consumption, but it's also about potential risk of failure, which would cost a lot of money to repair. You know, it's a big piece of equipment. Another example is lighting, right? So in this particular case, you can see that sometimes lights go off for night and sometimes not, right? And at the same time, if you look at the level of energy consumption for lighting, it's way too high, right? So it's also a very good example how you can analyze this particular consumer of energy, which is lighting, and give recommendations about, first of all, improving the processes, right? On the other hand, it's about making a business case for replacement of technology, right? Because using this particular graph, it's easy to understand that replacement of old lighting system with a new LED would actually save money in the very short term, right? So this is a great tool for that. Now let's go to another case, and this is where we focused on switching from gas to heat pump technology, because as you know, in the end of 2021, there was no problem with gas. The prices were okay, but in the beginning of 2022, the gas price was really too high. And in this particular residential complex that we designed, built, and managed, we had to switch from gas consumption to electrical energy consumption using heat pumps for water heating. So through reprogramming the whole water heating system and through making some design changes, we managed to reduce gas consumption by 90% and switching to what's called green energy for heat pumps. So that allowed to significantly reduce gas, which was in very limited and with very limited supply and high demand during the winter, and switch to green technology, which really helped a lot. But there was another interesting process, because we implemented a heat pump technology, which is great, which should work fine, but we didn't realize that with any new technologies, there could be issues, right? And the issue was that during 6 months of operation, we had 9 failures of heat pump, right? And this is quite unusual. The problem is that even with this technology, you are supposed to have, maintenance, notifications. That never happened, despite the fact that the vendor of the heat pump promised to have this kind of service provided. So when heat pumps fails, the system switches back to gas. That means that all the savings that you could get during use of heat pumps are gone, right? So for us, it was critical that we get the information about heat pump failures immediately, as soon as they happen, so that we could fix them and make sure that we still consume green energy instead of gas, right? So through the use of the platform and through notifications and analytics, we ensured efficient operation of heat pump and also reduced the vendor service fees for maintenance and repairs. So that's another example. I mean, in this particular case, we saved approximately 40% of gas consumption just because we managed to keep heat pump working instead of using gas for water heating. It's another interesting case to understand that there are so many possible scenarios of energy inefficiencies in the building. But once you have the big data, once you have an understanding of what's going on, this is a great tool for analyzing and making the right recommendations for energy efficiency. So before I pass it over to Dennis, I would like to make a summary, right? So basically, any optimization starts with getting data and understanding what's going on. And obviously, the big data and the industrial IoT technologies are the main tools for doing this. So once we have the data, we build a digital twin and digital trail of operations, and this allows to make efficient operations and really make right decisions to make old and new buildings, the buildings without or without BMS, more energy efficient, right? So digital trail and digital twin is really a great tool for doing this. And we have 2 types of solution. One is the hyperware platform, It's basically a platform that we give as a tool to your own professionals who are looking for the ways how to optimize energy consumption. If you don't have such team on board, then we can offer a hyperpower service, your own energy manager, right? So that you can save basically starting from month one. And this is really something that people are looking for. As we said, again, you have lack of professionals, lack of tools. So with this service, you basically get everything from one solution, from one platform. So this is, I would say, the end of my presentation. And then I would like to pass it over to Dennis to speak how we work together to provide a very managed, right, and disciplined approach to energy efficiency.
Yes, thank you, Arseny, for great presentation. Personally, I really love what you guys do. This is, I think, a breakthrough, especially for outdated buildings, which form around 85% of the portfolio in European Union, for example, and those buildings don't have BMS. And this is the way how the landlord and the property manager and facility manager can understand what's really going on with the equipment. And especially the interesting thing that I just want to double focus, just wanted to like highlight it, that as far as I understand, it's quite easy to install the hardware that you use. Can you please elaborate a little? How long does it take? Can it be managed with a team of local engineers or something, please?
Right, so it can take anywhere from 3 hours, to 3 days. It depends on the building, right? So when we developed our own hardware, the focus was that it's really fast and that you can do it with your own team or with a team of middle level technicians who can just go and do it. So it's really easy and fast, and you don't have to stop the operations of the building.
Yes.
Right. So
yes.
This is not non-intrusive approach.
Yeah, that's really great. Amazing that you don't have to like stop your boilers. You just plug in, get data, and react. And so when it comes to fixing the issues, comes to fixing the incidents, to understanding, to working with people, there where our ORDIN system, our computer-aided facility management platform appears. So I'd just like to briefly spread a word about what are we doing, how are we integrated with HyperIT, and just to show the real life examples also. So let me share my screen again, just for our attendees who are watching live. Of course, this stream will be available in the recording. Feel free to ask questions, whether you're looking at the YouTube, there's a messages area on the right side. And also if you're looking on our website, there's a messaging link, and all the questions will go live, and me and Arseny and Anna will try to find the answers. Okay, so let me share my screen and we'll just have a look. Anna, can you please confirm that the screen is viewable? We see our interface.
Yes, everything is fine. Thank you.
Yes, great. So just a couple of words about ORDIN and how we help landlords and property managers to deal with daily operations in facility management and in digitalizing their buildings. So the smart buildings, the part that Arseny was talking about is a huge part. Again, I'd like to emphasize that such platform, that HyperIT, and I don't know any kind of partner on the market who do this, that provide like a wider data collection than normal BMS provides. So, and you can just install it and use it within a couple of days. And then when something happens, it goes in our digital platform into ORDIN, which is basically a unique and unified entrance point to digitalizing your operations with your team, with your residents, with the tenants, and with smart building. So what we do provide is like a single entrance point and single platform. So currently, when we look at our customers, either it's a commercial real estate or residential real estate, if it's office building, industrial real estate, warehouses, shopping malls, we see that the digitalization, the digital tools that they are used are really destructive. They have like around 5 pieces of software. On the recent conference here in Tallinn on the Nordic real estate, I've heard a person from a property management company, a landlord, that currently they use 5 pieces of the software. They use different login tools, they use different reporting, they are not integrated. So working with this digital software for real estate management is a really pain. It's a really mess because you don't have like a single screen for everything. The single screen for real estate management is what our platform provides, is what ORDIN provides. So we put facility management tools, we put property management, workplace and tenant experience management, and smart buildings in a single screen, in a single entry point. So basically, it is the only supplier that you need to be sure that all the software, all the systems in your building are working simultaneously, synchronized, and you get data from a single screen. Technically, we provide a cloud portal that can be also installed on premises, so it can be stored either in the cloud or in the counter of your IT services, IT building in your own server, and a mobile tool for every member of the team, for engineers, for tenants, for residents, so they can communicate seamlessly within, again, one software. So within facility management, we provide tools for the reactive maintenance, for inspections, preventive maintenance, which is a huge and very important part, auditions, and of course mobile apps, and moreover. So I won't tell about each piece of it. We have different webinars on each our module that you can use and can see on our website. So we connect smart building with our partners from Hyperit and integrate BEAM models for that. With our partner Modern, we connect property management tools to deal with contracts, utilities calculations, spaces management, and of course tenant experience. So we provide a mobile app for the tenants, for the residents, for all the persons who are involved in building operations. And this all is connected to the API to our core database, where all the systems are integrated and easily stored. So you have your single source of truth, a single database, and the data that you own and can deal with it. And of course, our custom development, our own developers team from ORDIN Labs provides integrations with SAP, with Xero, with all the current service providers that are present on the market. So now let's have a look at it. Stop enough of having slides. Let's switch to the interface and see how integration with Hyperit works in the real life. So we can see a request coming that appears here automatically. It's an incident, so it's marked red, which means that the reaction should be provided immediately. We can go into the issue, see all the details. We can see the company on which we connected to the space. We can see the rooms. We can see all the data here. We can upload files. And of course, we see the link to Hyperit portal, where it's possible to see all the details of the current incident. For example, this is like a real life example. This is the demo. We can see that a spike in the consumption. So we know that actions should be taken. So this issue, this ticket automatically goes to the mobile app of the engineer, and we'll try to see how it looks in our app right now. So the engineer gets a notification, opens his app. Let me just give a second to switch to my phone. So,
yes, we can see.
We see that it's already here on the top because it's urgent. Engineer can go inside the issue. He also sees all the details, type of anomaly, the date, additional description, and of course, the place where it's connected to. So we have like the room, company, and equipment if it's needed. So all the discussions between the team is taken inside the app. So they don't need to make calls. They don't need to use messengers. So all data is stored in a single place in this request. So if you want to have some question, I just post it and get like a response from other team members. So then when engineer comes to the place and starts working, he also adds a photo. So if we have like all the equipment that he's planning to work with, also he leaves some comment and pushes start. So first of all, the work has started. The timer is ticking. So we will know how long will it take to deal with this issue? When the works are completed, and the important thing that all of this data is available online for all the team members, and they can also share their feedback. They can add photos, they can add files. So when the works are finished, again, a photo. So we need to know how the results of the work will look like. If there is a need to add some papers, like some companies, they're still using papers in their like daily operations, it's also possible to add it here. Depending on your business processes, it can be obligatory or not. So, okay, make some comments. So now I hope everything will go well with the internet and the work is finished. But it's very important that right now this ticket is not going to the archive. It's not archived, it's still up, it's still running, it still needs something to be done with it. So let's switch back to our desktop. And here, let's see, we have all the details right now. We have all the photos. We have all the history, all the digital log of what happened with the equipment. If there is a need to create some special requests, sub-requests, some additional works to be carried on, it's also possible to make it here. And of course, we can add some expendables that have been used here, put in its number, and it's also be here. Of course, there's like a printable version, and we can go back to the request. But the very important part of this process is that upon the completion of the request, the property manager or the person who is responsible for this equipment or to this room will need to close the request and add rating and to say that everything's okay. And only now this ticket goes to the archive. And inside the archive, it's possible to get all the data into the Excel spreadsheet in order to control it, in order to make additional reports. In terms of reporting tools, of course, we have a dashboard for each user where you can see the current status of the buildings, you can see the map, or you can integrate custom reports where you will see using different filters of what's going on inside the building in terms of the request or in terms of the maintenance. So we are not going into deep into the other functions because here on the screen we have only basic configuration. We have around 15 modules for the facility and property management, and we have our partners, Hyperit and Modern, who are providing, again, integrated information in a single screen. So if we are going back the Hyperit interface, it's possible to track all the data, all the information, all the big data to analyze it in terms of what's going on with your energy efficiency per room, per equipment. You can split it whenever you want and to get insights who is consuming too much energy, too much resources in your building, which is currently during the higher energy prices and according to the ESG policies that currently implemented in most of the countries of the world is a very important part of the property management business. So I think at that point I will finish. I've just made a short overview. I would love to say thank you to Arseny for a great insights, the great cases. This recording will be available for all the attendees, of all the persons who registered in the seminar, and also in our webpage. Within 10 minutes after the end of the webinar, we'll be able to request and download the webinar completion certificate that will be later sent to you, so you can share it on the social media and you can share it with your friends and invite to the next webinar. So please sign up to the LinkedIn page of Hyperit, of Ordin, to get fresh news, fresh notifications, and to get your buildings more sustainable and more safe to use in order to gain more revenues. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Denis. And dear guests, you are welcome to leave your questions. Please, you can leave a question to Arseny, you can leave a question to Denis, for me if you have so. So please, you're welcome, because we don't have up to now a lot of questions. Now we have only one question from Abdul. And Abdul is asking, can we get this presentation in our emails? Is it possible, Arseniy? Is it possible, Denis, to get the presentation after the webinar? What do you think?
Yes, sure.
Sure. I think we'll make an like follow-up email with a video, with a presentation, so we can share with your colleagues, discuss, get feedback again. And every presentation, there's a contact. You have our LinkedIn contacts also. So feel free to ask. We are open to the discussions, and we're open to make a personal presentation in your teams.
Okay, please, dear Abdul, leave your email in the message, the same message, and we will send you the presentation with a great pleasure. You're welcome. Let me see if we have some questions.
Questions following
on YouTube. Cindy is writing, thank you very much.
Oh, Cindy, yes, thank you. Hope we'll make a next webinar with you, me and Arseniy, and I think it will be great to work with you. Thank you.
And let me remind you that if you want, we will send you the certificate after the webinar. Please feel free to fill in the form after the webinar. We will put it on the website of Ordin, the same page. And up to now, we don't have more questions. What do you think? Oh, you know, we have more.
The questions are following.
One more question. Yes, please, guys, leave your questions. We are still here with you. Please send me the presentation also. Okay. We don't see your name. We only see your email address, but we will send you the presentation. Okay. Thank you. What about another questions? Maybe Cindy has a question. Arseniy, I would like to know if the hybrid solution is also good for simpler non-BMS facilities, like banking offices. So facilities where there are no critical equipment.
The question is always how you use this solution, right? Because what happens now is we see a lot of initiatives are driven by ESG and ESG financing, right? So if you have a good ESG rating, then you can get much better terms on your financing. So therefore, every company has to provide ESG reporting and identify ESG initiatives to reduce energy consumption, right? So the first step for any optimization tool, as I said, is basically understanding what's going on, have a detailed view, right? And then based on that, the company can make a decision how they want to move forward. So I would say that regardless of whether you can achieve huge savings or small savings, just understanding what's going on and how the energy is consumed across the network is super critical, both for ESG and then for follow-up optimization initiatives. So therefore, I would say that especially if you have a large network of offices or stores, it's a great tool to implement this whole network very quickly, very efficiently and price efficiently, and then you can start from there, right?
Okay, great. Thank you, Arseniy. And I have a suggestion. Maybe our guests will think a couple of minutes about the questions and we will reply them a bit later. Colleagues, what do you think?
Okay. You know, let's make sure that our viewers connect with us on LinkedIn, and then we can answer.
Yeah, it's always possible. And even if there are, you are watching currently, I mean, the viewers you are watching currently, it's in a recording mode. There is a comment section. I will still get a notification, and we'll answer you directly through social media or through YouTube. Just leave your email in the comments, and we will be there.
Okay, thank you, Danke.
Yes, thank you. Aitäh, obrigado, gracias.
Gracias.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think at this point we are finishing our stream. Thank you, everyone, and see you on the social media and our next events that will happen live also.
let's make sure that we save energy together, right? I think this is
Yes, save
critical.
energy together.